Hi guys, it's Jessica here for a not necessarily BJD video, though indirectly it probably involves them. They'll be in the background. But this is a box opening of something else, and I thought I would go ahead and make a video and share it because I am very, very excited. Let's see, can I show this to you guys without showing? So you'll be able to tell from the title what this is. And if you've been following me on Instagram and my stories, that's where I've mostly been talking about this. This is another one of those birthday presents I gave myself because hints didn't work. But that's okay. I'm a big girl. I can buy my own toys. I wanted to share this because I did want to talk about my other hobby. Here comes Lola. She's all muddy and disgusting. Hi, Lola. Oh my gosh. Okay. She was outside playing with her tire and there's like muddy tire marks all over her face. But yes, so this is, as the title will say, my iPad Pro. This is the 2018, and I forget now the size. Shoot, it'll be in the title. It's an 11-inch, I think, something like that. So it's not the biggest one, it's the one right underneath it. And it was difficult to decide which one I wanted. But the reason I bought this was because I want to get back into digital art again, which was my avid, passionate hobby for over 10 years. I have always been an artist, always drawn, always done art. Whatever I had available to me, I would make art. And my mom tells the story of being a toddler and being given some crayons. Instead of eating them, I actually drew with them. So when I was in high school, I did a lot of art, and they let me do showings where I would put together some sort of show of a theme and put all my art up in a case. And I did that a lot. I did the my junior year yearbook cover. And everybody thought that I was going to art school. Like, that was just, everybody thought that. And when I gave my valedictorian speech, it was like, I'm going to go be a biology major and then become a veterinarian, go into veterinary school. And everybody was just really, everybody thought I was going to art school. But my theory, or my idea at the time was, well, I can always do art. It's not like I'm giving it up. I just choose not to have it as my career and how I'm going to earn my living. And I never thought that I was going to be rich as a veterinarian. I never thought that at all, but I felt confident that I would earn a living, and I didn't feel that for art. And this was before the internet, guys. This was before internet and all of the things, all of the resources, and just the scope of what is available. I always think if I had been 20 years later that there's a good chance it might have been a very different direction for me, just because of the opportunities and seeing good examples of people making a career from art and how people did that and do that now. Not that it's not a struggle for people and that you don't have to work at it, but that it was a possibility. Whereas when I was in high school, what are you going to do? You know, how are you going to it was a very risky venture, basically, and I had no interest in being the high school art teacher, you know, it was just, that was the scope of it and the impression, and anything. I'd never been exposed to any other possibility. But anyways, moving on, when I went through college, getting my bachelor's, and then going on to veterinary school, this was an 8-year-long part of my life where art really definitely got pushed to the side. I was very, very devoted to my studies. Getting into veterinary school was not easy, so every spare moment of my undergrad years was spent doing the things that I needed to have the things I needed for application to veterinary school, and having all of those recommendations from people, and just basically building those sorts of building up your relationships with people in the field. My brain's not working. But anyways, that it just was very consuming. And when I did finally graduate and got my first job, and it was wonderful to finally have an income, and be able to support myself, and essentially having free time again. You know, I wasn't spending every free moment trying to volunteer or do something that was involved to building my career. So I had free time, and I was looking around on things on the internet, and I saw this sort of art that I didn't know how they were making. It was beautiful. I was very intrigued, and found out that people were making digital art with Photoshop. And when I was in high school, I had made some digital art with what's it, Paint? Just the old Paint program, and a mouse, and laboriously had drawn, I remember I drew a diagram of a section of a dolphin head. It was like, I made it for a paper that I wrote on anatomy or something, and the dolphin head. But other than that, it didn't, like, I'd never been exposed to anybody making art digitally. And so I started looking into it, and gosh, we're like 7 minutes into this. I hope this isn't too boring for you guys. Maybe I'll put a link to where to skip to for opening the iPad. But I wanted to lay this groundwork. So I got my, I did research, I found out what people were using. So this would have been circa 2000, I graduated in 2002, and I think it was probably early 2003 when I finally, like, got my first tablet. It was a Wacom tablet, and it was the kind that you draw on, and then you're not drawing on the screen. So it's the old school type tablets, and I would draw in my sketchbook, and then I would scan it in, and then I would color it. I would ink it. This was my process, is that I would draw something in my sketchbook, ink it, get all the ink work finished, and then scan it in to Photoshop to color it. And that's how I started out. And I wasn't fantastic. I was pretty rusty at art, but I was really passionate about it. It was this technology, and the potential was just so fun and amazing to me. And so I eventually, I think within the probably not even within a year, because I think it was 2004 when I got my Cintiq, and this was one of the first Cintiqs, like, it was released, like it had just came on the market, and they had a promotion for like $200 off. so it was only $2,500. And so I was like, you know, I am really passionate about this. I spend all of my free time doing this. I enjoy it. So I went ahead and bought that. And I think it really accelerated my just learning my skills and becoming a better drawer. Just becoming a better artist overall. I mean, I just worked on it intensively. I mean, I was working full-time as a veterinarian, so it's not like it was my job, but it was my hobby, and I was very passionate about it. So I did digital art very passionately for over 10 years. And I started to have problems, health problems that involved migraines, and looking at screens and working on computer screens exacerbated it. And I mean, I was so passionate about my art and doing it. It was probably a year and a half of trying to continue to work on art in utter misery, basically. It was just so it was so devastating to me, because this was something that I enjoyed so much, and it made me very depressed. That I essentially I couldn't do it. It was something I shouldn't do. Basically, it was I couldn't do it anymore. I was very ill for a number of years. But what happened during that time is that I had ball jointed dolls, and so I definitely switched to a much more analog life, and crafting for my dolls, working on my dolls. And I started sewing. I started sewing for my dolls, and I hadn't sewn much. I'd made some dog collars when I was in college and vet school. I really didn't sew much. Used to make like pillows and blankets when I was a kid, when my mom would let me use her sewing machine, like just very simple things. So I started out with trying to hand sew things. I was really intimidated by the sewing machine, especially with such small, delicate things. So about, when was it? Because it was when my twiggling, this girl here, my first twiggling ingenue, when she came in, I started sewing. So started sewing, and really at that point figured out that I did enjoy it, and I just really set my mind. So about 2016 is when I just finally just put digital art aside. It caused me a lot of pain to do it, and it caused me a lot of pain to set it aside, but that gap in my life, that creative outlet that I needed, got filled by sewing primarily for dolls, and so that was great. I mean, I'm so grateful for that time in my life. I still enjoy sewing now. This is going to be interesting to see. My migraines overall are much improved from what they used to be. I still have a lot of sensitivity to screens. I do still have my big old Cintiq. It's huge, and right now it's just got some pretty fabric over it. It's a backdrop for my dolls. I haven't touched it. The thing. So if I really wanted to get back into sitting at a desktop and doing art, sitting at a desk like that, I have that still. But I do think that the screen, it's an old screen. I mean, that's from 2004, and I think there's been a lot of improvements. So this is my big hope, is that, you know, I've got the best of the best for as far as screen technology, and I'm hoping that it will be less bothersome to me as far as migraine issues. There's painters working on the house, so they're supposed to knock on the door or ring the doorbell when they want me to bring the dogs back in. So I hope they ring the bell, because there's been lots of knocking, and I don't know. I can't go to the door every time they are hammering on something. But we have painters, so if you hear noise. Okay, we're 14 minutes in. Oh my gosh. So I will probably insert at some point, maybe during this time that I'm rambling, I will insert some of my art over the years that I've done. I'll put a link in the description to my Deviant Art Gallery. It's a bit in disarray. I was suffering some art theft issues. That was also some of the stuff that it was kind of getting me down. There was some art theft issues going on, and that was just unpleasant. And it was already a struggle to work on art, and then dealing with that kind of negativity. So yeah, so my Deviant Art Gallery, I did try to kind of put it back together some, because I put everything away, and then when you open it back up, you have to arrange everything, and it's like my Deviant Art Gallery is from like 2003. Like it's so old. It's got a lot of art. So the very first stuff I think I've left archived, but you can see a lot of the stuff still there. Yeah, I really want to try, I guess what I'm interested in is I want to be able to do art in a more mobile way. I want to do it sitting at the couch. I want to do it sitting in bed. I don't necessarily want to do it sitting at a desk. At this point, if I come and sit at this desk, then I want to sew and work on my dolls, not use the Cintiq. So this is, the idea is that I want to do this. This is something for me to do during those times. I have health issues. I am a chronic illness, chronic pain person, and there are still a lot of times in my life where I have to either sit on the couch, lay on the couch, or lay in bed, and my body needs to rest, but I still want to do stuff. So I'm hoping that this will be an option for me. That we'll see. I don't know how it's all going to work, the ergonomics of it, all of that. I just don't know. So really excited. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this stuff. I'll be right back.